Okay. Yes, we're live now. You can start, Jamie.
Are we going now? Everything's good?
Yeah, we're live. You can start now.
All right, sweet. They say you can't judge a book by its cover. And I say you've never been black, never been categorized by the color of your complexion, never been stigmatized because of your skin. To be black in America is to be another author in a never-ending anthology about oppression. It is to be a chapter standing under the bloodiest of suns, singing Negro spirituals and songs about freedom, a chapter captured in chains and carried to the table of contents known as this country. But isn't it ironic that we call this the land of the free? To be black in America is to know that you could have been a commodity had you been born 200 years before today. 200 years before today, I probably would have been born a slave, and my hands would have been drenched in burgundy blood from picking cotton and fights and the right routes to run away. And sometimes I said, sometimes being black feels like being a prequel to the revolution or a sequel titled Retaliation. And I am tired. I said, I am tired of being a walking publication of pain, of being a preface of survival. I'm tired of being a footnote with no bootstraps to pull myself up. But isn't it heritage for African Americans to turn shit into sugar, to make the margins feel more like a home, to be seen as a home for bullets? You think to live life this graphic, one must exist in a novel or something. To be black in America is to know that you can be target practice at any white man's will. It is to keep your will on standby. It is to stand by injustice and say nothing. If only we could speak every time we were traumatized. So please, remind me how you don't see color, or how you don't judge books by their cover. Remind me again how you can blatantly skim over all of this magnificent black skin. What's up? What's up, folks? My name is Jamie Williams, and I am so honored, so privileged, and so excited to be your host of Black Change. This showcase is a multi-generational showcase full of Black people who have come today to spit their poems, to share their art. Because right now, during all these heavy times, I think it's important to remember that art and happiness is one of the biggest revolutionary tools we got. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be sharing our art. We're going to be listening to each other. We're going to be loving each other. One of the protests has just reminded people that a lot of things have been on fire for a long time under the surface, and now things are becoming on fire on top of the surface. So it's time we start having these conversations. It's time we shut up and start listening to people who have been speaking for hundreds of years but haven't been heard, people who've been denied access and rights and resources. And that's what today is about. Before we begin, it's very important to acknowledge that one of the reasons why we're doing this Black Showcase today is to combat all of the police brutality, all of the white supremacy, and the Black death that is rampant in America. So before we even begin, before I pass it off to several of the other amazing performers, artists, poets that you're going to hear tonight, I want to take a moment of silence. A moment of silence for Black women like Sandra Bland and Breonna Taylor, who were slaughtered for doing nothing wrong. A moment of silence for Ahmaud Arbery, for George Floyd, for Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, everybody else who lost their life way too soon. Can we give a moment of silence to those people? Thank you, everybody. I truly feel that a minute isn't enough. There's so much work we have to do. There's so much conversations that need to be had. And that's what today is all about. So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to all of the amazing performances that you're going to be hearing today. Shout out to all the writers, the poets who took their time to share their art. Today is also a fundraiser. Another way besides our art that we can give back, that we can fight, is by giving money, right? Today is also a fundraiser, and we're going to be fundraising for 3 different organizations that are doing so much work in the community. So I'm going to read about these organizations right now. The first one is a local organization called the Ella Baker Center. The Ella Baker Center is a grassroots organization in Oakland that focus in on shifting resources away from incarceration and punishment towards opportunities. Very important work. The other one is the Black Earth Farms organization, which is also local. And the Black Earth Farms is a grassroots, Pan-African, and Pan-Indigenous farming collective growing food right here in the East Bay. They are taking donations of food, both for those of jail during the past week's protests and for folks organizing bail funds and medical resources. To learn more about them, hop on Instagram and just look up Black Earth Farms. The last organization that we'll be giving donated money to today is Campaign Zero. Over 1,000 people are killed by police every year in America, and they are calling on local, state, and federal lawmakers to take immediate action to adopt data-driven policy solutions to end the violence and hold police accountable, something that needs to happen. If you check out their website, you will see that they have a bunch of statistics, they have a bunch of graphs, they are doing the work. I know that from a lot of the heavy conversations that I've been having, a lot of folks are just really science-driven. They need to see the proof. If you ever need to talk to somebody and you need to combat somebody and they're talking about, well, where's the proof? Where's the proof? Look up Campaign Zero and they will have all the proof that you need. Again, my name is Jamie and I will be your host for the night. Before we hop into our adult poems, I want to give a shout out to some of the people who put this amazing open mic together. Shout out to Rich Oak Events. Shout out to Berkeley Slam. Shout out to SPARC Poetry, Bay Area Creative, all of the other amazing organizations who come together today to give you this open mic. Let me tell you a little bit about our youth performers before we hop in. The first performer that we're going to have is Imani. Imani Mason is a girl from Richmond and a sophomore in high school. Shout out to Richmond. I'm also from Richmond. So I don't even know her poem. But I know it's going to be fire. She's a poet who uses her writing to point out the wrong she sees in the world. Imani is quite fond of wordplay and imagery, and she writes so people unlike her can see what the world is like through her eyes. Before Imani starts out, we're going to have one more adult poet kind of open up the mic and just lay the way for these youth poets to come out. So Imani, you're on deck, as we like to say in slam. But right now, I'm going to turn the mic over to my homie, my brother, Colin Edmonds.
All right. Hello. Can y'all hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. A black boy flashes across my screen and I watch the oxygen leave his lungs. Lead empty his body of crimson. I watch as he becomes the earth he stood on, a home for grief. And I watch time and time again as death crawls its fingers around throats that look just like mine. As murder becomes viral videos, another Facebook friend shares another video of black boy turns corpse and my heart beats to the rhythm of gunfire. Another mother screams for her baby to come back and her prayers become a hashtag. And I wonder, how many views will my murder be worth? How many weeks will my name trend and how many times will another black boy repay my death before his eyes become lifeless too? How long before we stop traumatizing ourselves by watching our own execution? HD surround sound quality, audio so crisp when the trigger pulls, we pause and check ourselves for bullet wounds. My timeline has become a graveyard. Every post holds a eulogy. Every rest in peace holds a warning of how dangerous this skin can be. Every hashtag, a lecture in our own mortality. Blood good is a blood-soaked lesson to a people trying to rinse themselves clean of it. How do we heal from a trauma we are not yet removed from? How do we mourn a death that still has 5 million views on Facebook, still has an active comment section, some calling for another execution, others praying for a resurrection, but I want my Facebook page to become the gospel, good news. One where every hymn is a song of gratitude, a platform where no son feels forsaken by their father at the execution. I want no execution. I want every hashtag to still be alive. I want videos of family meals, every face stuffed like this was their last supper. I want fashion videos where melanin teaches us that red is a color best worn on the inside. Stories of parents playing with their children, pictures of black boys and flowers of sun-kissed brown skin. I want joy and laughter, sunrises and sunsets that lead to more sunrises. I want a guaranteed tomorrow, a future filled with joy. I want something that reminds us that this skin is something worth living for. Thank you. Yeah, that is my poem. One of the things I've been thinking about during this time is how many videos we have seen and what that kind of replay of death does. It either traumatizes you or you get numb to it, which is another form of traumatization. So I've been really in an effort to not just fight against police brutality, but fight for Black life, Black joy, for happiness, because it's not just enough to be alive. We have to be living. And I think that's something that gets skipped over in the Black community. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jamie.
Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Colin. I think that one of the things that Colin said was that, we also have to fight not just to end police brutality, but Black joy, Black happiness, Black rest. And that is such an important topic. So Colin, like myself, is an adult from Richmond. We graduated Richmond High class of 2015. So it's really amazing to be sharing the spotlight today with some other youth poets from Richmond. When I say on deck, that means that this person isn't about to perform now, but they're performing next. And right before they perform, I'm going to give them their proper introduction. So I already read you Imani's amazing bio. I want everybody to really be energetic on your screens. If you feel empowered by anything, please make sure that you donate today. We're going to be giving this money to 3 different orgs that really deserve it. You can donate through the Bay Area Creative website, or if that's too hard, you can just go to Venmo at SPARC Poetry, and that's SPARC with a C, SPARC Poetry. So now I'm going to turn it over to Imani. Let's watch Imani do her thing.
Hi, I'm Imani, and my poem is called White Like Her. Do you want me to be white like her? White skin, blonde hair, blue eyes, tiny waist, and thin thighs? I'm sorry, I can't be like her. I'm sorry, I have brown hair, brown skin, curly hair, black eyes, a big waist, and thick thighs. I'm sorry, I have a fear in my heart when I hear sirens behind me arise. I'm sorry I can't say, hey, I'm not gonna get stopped today. Do you want me to be like her? Do you want me to be like her, straightened hair with a flat iron, no fear of heat damage behind my ears? I'm sorry, I have curly hair and a mortal fear of heat damage behind my ears. Do you want me to be the pretty girl in a pink skirt and have pep in her step everywhere she walks? No, I'm sorry, I have locks. I don't get that privilege in the hood where I walk. Fuck it, I'm gonna call mom saying, fine little Ricky. These streets are dangerous and our moms aren't playing for the same team as us, so they don't want us to see us succeed. But it's time for us to get off our knees. Oh, that's too much for you? That's okay. Let's talk about the racial wage gap. No? That makes you uncomfy? Too bad. Let's talk about cultural appropriation. No? Why not? Okay, whatever. You're lost. See, I'm a pacifist because if I'm confrontational, I'm seen as a criminal. Hell, I'm seen as a criminal even if I'm going to the store for milk. And no, my dad didn't do that. You can't see you're being racist, Becky. You're just being confrontational. No, honey. I'm not. I'm just not your factual cup of tea. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Imani. Before we move it back over, I just want to invite you one more time. Is there anything that you want to say, anything that you feel called to say about that piece or about yourself?
Yeah, okay. White Like Her was basically just pointing out like things that I guess society wants Black women to be like. My mother and a lot of people in my family have locks, and I've overheard many white people say that they look unprofessional, they don't fit their job titles, and my mom is very educated and is the most brilliant person I've ever met, and it really hurts me to see that she's not getting jobs that she's basically overqualified for to do, and she's not getting them. And I know it's really short because I didn't have that many words to put into it, and I couldn't think of a lot because you guys have such powerful poems, and I'm like, I'm not really there yet, but I'm getting there, and I'm working my way up to more powerful poems, and that was one of my more like just pointing out things that I see as wrong and just attacking things that I see as wrong.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Bonnie, for showing your art. And just something I want to remind you is that you are powerful. You are amazing. I was not as confident in my performance as you when I was a sophomore in high school. I really didn't start performing until I was a junior. So the fact that you're even able to share your art is so well at that, so universal at that, because a lot of people could connect with that. So thank you so much for sharing your art. You know, it's our job as adults to pass the torch. And I just see it happening. Like the youth just keeps being stronger than the generation before them. You know, my generation is better than the poets before, and your generation is better than our generation. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Please know that you did your thing today, Imani. You did your thing.
Thank you.
Of course. So we're gonna keep this going. On deck, we have Brianna, but Jacob Pollard is about to perform right now. Let me tell you a little bit about Jacob. Jacob is a 12-year-old at IBL Middle School in Pacifica. When he isn't writing poems, he's playing basketball or PS4. And I'm a PS4 nerd, and I've taught at IBL, so I don't even know what his poem is about to be about, but I already know I love it. Brianna, you are on deck. Let's make sure that we tune in right now for Jacob's poem.
This poem was like originally co-written by Sayuri Hughes, but I'm performing it with my friend as Google instead. Yeah. Hey Google, what is the weather today?
Today the weather is partly cloudy with a highest temperature of 65 and a lowest of 45.
Hey Google, what is the score of the Lakers game?
The Lakers are trailing the Miami Heat by 7 points in the third quarter.
Okay Google, when was Puerto Rico's latest hurricane?
September 20th, 2017 was when Hurricane Maria hit.
Okay Google, who is our president?
Donald J. Trump is the President of the United States of America.
Okay Google, do you agree with this present president that treats people like peasants, but they aren't over walls looking Mexicans out of this country that we call home soda immigrants?
Sorry, I do not understand.
Okay, Google, do you understand? I'm trying to make a stand. People hoping he doesn't get elected again. Presidential office should not see him. Hey Google, do you like Donald Trump?
Donald Duck is a Disney character.
Hey Google, I do not think you understand.
Sorry, I do not understand.
Okay Google, why do police always attack black people?
Why do they get the power of a gun and badge?
Okay Google, why was Jamal Robertson shot after pinning down an armed suspect in a bar?
The bullets were on the bench in the fourth quarter, 1 second left, but they still had to play.
Why was Terrence Crutcher shot dead? The policeman was not convicted for the crime that he committed.
I do not recall.
So you do not recall when 3,000 families are split up at the border and 500 cases of children split from their families are still unsolved?
Do you not recall the children laid out on the blacktop like clothes bleached from the black?
Do you not recall the president saying,
There's no such thing as global warming.
as wildfires devoured the homes in paradise? Do you not recall? Do you not recall? Do you not recall? Do you not recall millions crying out for help in Puerto Rico?
In the White House, never there.
Okay, Google, what's the news this morning?
Thank you, Jacob. Thank you. Before you log out, is there anything that you want to tell the folks?
I just I wrote this poem when I was just like, I was in the car on the way to Target, and I was just messing around, just writing stuff. I came up with this, and then I performed it at a poetry club, and then they just liked it, and I've been performing it ever since.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing your art. The first time I heard you and Sayeri do that piece, I knew it was a banger. You may not know me that well, but I've been teaching in Pacifica for years, so I've kind of seen you and Sayeri perform a couple of times, and it just means so much to me that you're able to come and share your art today. So thank you, Jacob. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to remind folks that this is also a fundraiser. If you feel called by any of the things that the poets have said, make sure you go on the Bay Area Creative website. Make sure that you donate to SPARC Poetry, and that's SPARC with the C, SPARC Poetry. We have already raised $325. That is $325. This money is going to go to a lot of amazing organizations who really need it. Oh, we are at 425. We already jumped 100 in that 1 second. Woo! No, I'm joking. I'm joking. People out there already doing the work. So right now we have Jaheim on deck. That means Jaheim is about to perform. But right now coming up to the mic is Brianna. And let me tell you about Brianna. Brianna is a 16-year-old Bay Area-based slam poet and self-published author. Let me repeat that again. Self-published author at 16. Amazing. When asked to make this bio longer by adding what she was passionate in, she responded, "I'm so passionate about everything, I don't know." So I don't know. Let's listen to Brianna's poem. Let's hop into it.
All right, this poem is titled, "We're Not Strangers to Fear." Christian Cooper, a black bird watcher, tells a white woman to put her dog on a leash. She calls NYPD saying that she's being threatened and that her life is in danger. Sometime that same day, George Floyd dies after an officer holds his knee to his neck for 8 consistent minutes. And I can't help but think to myself, lady, you don't have a clue what it means to be fearful or to feel like your life is in danger. You know, maybe you could tell it to Breonna Taylor or Tony McDade or to the thousands of birthdays and graduations that cannot be celebrated. Last time I checked, 6 cases of police brutality happened all in a month. Last time I checked, I learned what to do at a traffic stop before I learned how to drive. To speak only in yes, sir. No, sir. Please don't lay my body down on this sidewalk, sir. I didn't mean to look out of place or to have my hands in my pockets when they should be where white folks can see them at all times. Shouldn't have been walking fast like I got somewhere to be. Shouldn't have been born this brown skin. Fuck, I was never supposed to survive that boat across the Atlantic, was I? Last time I checked, bullets and asphyxiation was just the new way to whip Negroes. Last time I checked, we ain't strangers to police dogs, or fire truck hoses, or rubber bullets, or napalm on black neighborhoods, or tear gas on peaceful protests, or the way they call it riots, and not drastic revolutionary actions. Last time I checked, we've had our hands up, and they keep firing. We go out for a jog or to the store and come back in body bags. We ask the cops to stop killing us. They responded with war crimes. Mass shootings of white American civilians will call out crisis, but when a black person gets shot, it takes us a handful of smoldering cities to make people see the way we cry and pray and hold on, look to a northern star, to our ancestors for answers on how do we pull through, how do we keep going, what do we do when we are sick and tired of writing poems or showing up for protests that nobody listens to, what do we do when they let every murderous cop walk free, when they don't change the protocol, when they dismiss our deaths over and over, what do we do when freedom is in sight but dogs are tearing at our heels? Most days I feel that there is no possible way for me to shake these chains, that there is no church hymn I can sing, that there is no poem I can write to make any of this okay. Most days I walk through doors feeling as if I won't walk back through them again, but every year we celebrate another graduation and another birthday, and we hold hands and say grace over the dinner table. And in these moments, I do not have any fear. In these moments, I forget this country's on fire. In these moments, I don't feel like I'm burning alive, and there are no dogs or sirens in sight. And in those moments, they are just enough for me to remember why I will always continue to fight. So when I wrote this poem, it happened after maybe about a week of when the initial George Floyd stuff had gone really really hot on like the news and stuff and on social media. And before that had even happened, I was having a conversation with my uncle who grew up in the South in Laurel, Mississippi, and he was telling me, you know, I've seen a lot and I've gone from different places, and I don't feel like much has changed, and I would like to think that like things are gonna somehow fix themselves, or not themselves, but something's gonna happen to help recover from all this. But he was telling me that it's very hard sometimes to remain faithful and to hold on. And I was trying to keep that in mind and thinking about myself being a writer and also being part of the next generation, and taking on that responsibility. So that's kind of where that poem came from.
Definitely. And I just like really want to thank you for sharing your art. I feel like that was such an amazing poem. It's just like I told Imani, your generation is already and will be so much stronger than my generation and the generation before it. Even if change happens in little moments, change is happening. I wasn't self-published when I was 16. I wasn't spitting amazing poems like that when I was 16. And nobody I know was doing that. So you and all the other amazing youth poets today, like the torch is on y'all. You know, please know that like as adults, we're gonna do everything we can to set the stage for y'all, to make sure that y'all are safe, that y'all are validated, that y'all are loved, but y'all are doing the work. Please believe me, y'all are doing the work.
For sure.
Whew. These kids are amazing. I really can't stress that enough. The amount of courage and vulnerability that they're putting in their pieces is something that people 2 or 3 times their age can't even do yet. And I'm just really proud to be an educator who has helped out in programs that have helped out these students figure out that this is something that they can do, because a lot of the times we're told there's nothing we can't do. So I'm going to shut up and give the mic to some more youth. We got 2 more youth poets doing this portion, the youth portion. On deck, we have Tiffany. But right now, coming up, we have Jaheim. Jaheim Jones is a Black male from Richmond, California. Richmond! I got to do that every time. Is a Black male from Richmond, California, and is an incoming senior at John F. Kennedy High School. He's a slam and spoken word poet who uses his writing to better amplify his messages of social justice and emotional processing. Jaheim is an active activist in the community and fights for the change in community that needs to be better, thrive safely. I'm so excited to hear this poem. Tiffany, you are on deck, but coming to the stage right now, we have Jaheim. So let me turn the mic over.
Tamir Rice was only 12 years old when he was shot and killed at Coudale Park by a white officer. In response, the streets of Cleveland, Ohio took to a protest. Like thunder, they made noise in every corner of America. As if lightning struck at my own head, it feels as if Tamir would have been graduating by now. Only being 4 months older than me, it hurt that I am now 5 years older than he'll ever be. Black Lives Matter. In America, we are plagued with the tendency to move backwards in history. They were lynching Black men, raping Black women, cuffing Black wrists, killing Black youth, and demonizing Black babies. We were already hated when we were in our Black mother's stomach, that when we came out, we were only to be ashamed, dehumanized, they were nothing but property, reminded that they started the looting. They stole us. Then they starved us, beat us, sold us, enslaved us, and killed us. That Sarah Bartman's body wasn't returned to her home country until 2004, some 200 years after she died. They looted our history to mock our culture in museums. They looted Mama Africa for the gold and cobalt just to make use of the new iPhone or Tesla or whatever the fuck can fill up Jeff Bezos' pockets a little more. However, they still tell us to leave. But it's hard to leave a nation we worked so hard on building. That Black women built a country on their backs, that I now have to carry the intergenerational trauma of my ancestors, to bear the future of my child, to watch after myself, so my back will hang a little for you. I'll be darker for your chocolate fondue, sweeten up your vibe, loosen up your attitude to make you more comfortable, and still, Black Lives Matter. We don't belong here, they say. Blue lives matter, they say. They scream bloody murder, but bloody murder was draped over indigenous bones and patched by a blue collar, soon to be replaced with the blood of my people, spilled on indigenous land, draped over with a patchy blue sky. Where the fuck did you think that flag came from? It's a warning telling us to leave, that America never cared about us, that Nia Wilson's death wasn't just Oakland street violence, that Trayvon Martin's death wasn't a fucking coincidence, Emmett Till's lynching wasn't just a simple little lie. Like, bitch, you could have took that to the shit. You could have took that shit to the grave. Why come clean when your blood, when the blood on your hand has already dried up? This was built out of hate, not a system, but they keep screaming. They keep on screaming it. Soon, Black family, we'd have to move back. We'd have to make ways back home. There's so much more for us to do in the comfort of our own bodies, because the revolution is not yet over. It barely just started. Black lives matter. Thank you.
That poem, that piece was incredible. Before you sign off, is there anything you want to tell the people?
Yeah, so I'm also trying to publish a book soon, possibly in 2021. COVID-19 kind of pushed it back. I also have a poetry business that uplifts Black youth, queer, trans youth, many marginalized communities to better amplify their voices, especially youth. So check that out. It's called Lyro, Liro, and then Foundation. I'm on Instagram. I'm trying to get on Facebook and Twitter, but I'm not really fancy with those apps. So yeah, and also just thank you so much. Keep supporting the movement, and yeah, I love all y'all.
All right, thank you. Make sure y'all check that out on Instagram, Lyro, Liro. Support Black businesses, support young youth entrepreneurships. I've seen Jaheim perform for years. I've watched his performance just get better and better and better. And that piece was one of my favorites. Wow. On deck, we have the adult poets coming up. But right now we have the last youth poet. And this is Tiffany. Tiffany Rose is an Afro-Latina poet born and raised in the Bay Area. She enjoys being all around modern art and designs. She started off writing journal entries when she was younger, but recently got the chance to improve and work with some amazing poets and join Youth Speaks within the last year. I'm so excited for the last youth poet about to touch this mic and set it on fire. You all have seen all the amazing poetry, the vulnerability, the truth that all of the youth poets have spit. If you believe in the youth, donate so that way the youth can have a safe future. We have already raised over $600, but you know what I'm gonna say? Let me shut up and pass the mic to Tiffany Rose.
Black Lives Matter, a sentence that means something different to all of us. Eric Garner, but a meaning that only affects some in the title. Sean Reed, Black Lives, Breonna Taylor, Lives, Troy Robinson, Lives Taken, David McCarthy, Young Black Lives, Trayvon Martin, Old Black Lives, George Floyd, just Black Lives, Robert Fuller, Lives Taken. We scream Black Lives Matter at the top of our lungs. Cops show up to the protests with loaded guns. Reruns in my mind, having to see a brother with a police officer's privilege knee on his neck. Reruns of the loaded guns held at many brothers who were then killed without any reason. Colin Kaepernick, star quarterback, kneels during the national anthem. A Minneapolis cop kneels on a fellow Black brother and kills him, his knee digging through the veins of his neck against hard pavement for 8 minutes. Colin Kaepernick loses his job, but this cop serves a few days in jail time. So now I ask you, which kneel bothers you more? These issues are much more than a hashtag, much more than an Instagram pic. It's much more than showing up to the streets of New York City with your iced latte and a Sharpie Black Lives Matter across your cardboard. This isn't just an Instagram photo shoot up. This isn't just a trend. These are our brothers and sisters begging for this to end. Brothers, sisters, sons, daughters. Brothers, sisters, sons, daughters. We're asked not to talk about these things. We're seen as angry Black folk when really we're just tired. Tired of losing our lives, tired of suffering. Faces of oppression are faced with guns and gas, but faces of wealth are faced with love and luxury. We fight for our lives and lose them when others get the luxury of fighting for their comforts, when really those privileged lives should be condemned. But us quote unquote angry Black folk will shine like gems. Our stems will flourish from the ash of the trash we were once buried in. And for the brothers and sisters whose lives are seen as nothing more than body bags and hashtags, we shout, say their name, because it's a shame that beautiful lives are being taken away. And to the Minneapolis police officers, you said that was not your intention, but you made your choice when you dug his neck into the pavement. You shout the words blue lives matter, but you forget to enunciate the word white behind those stripes. Our red blood stains the flag through your blue and white lives matter bullshit. Through those white stars he loves so much, a flag that's supposed to represent freedom and unity. But when Trump and his people march to make America great again, he doesn't realize how many Black lives he steps on to do it. I was about 12 years old. One day, I woke up and peeked around the corner of my deteriorating beige walls of my living room to see my brother and my grandma having a conversation that little Black boys and girls were all too familiar with. This day, my grandma was handing over the keys to the family car, but before she did, she said, "Boy, now you listen here. Driving is extremely dangerous, not just because of the accidents involved, but because of the color of your skin. When a cop pulls you over, you do whatever he says. Nothing more than a yes, sir, no, sir, right on it, sir. As soon as you get pulled over, you put your hands on the dash and don't move them. I need you to come home every single day." And it's sad that one day we all have that built-in feel that our Black brothers, sisters, sons, daughters, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters won't be able to come home. They fear our hands just for being Black. Those same Black hands that built this country up. The same hands that pray for our safety whenever we get pulled over. The same hands that are shakingly placed on the dashboard in fear. The same hands that are afraid to pull out our IDs because it can be seen as a weapon. These same Black hands that built this country up. The same Black hands that work that much harder for the same opportunities as these white men. They fear our hands just for being Black. So when I say Black Lives Matter, it is a sentence that means something different to all of us.
Fire, fire, fire. Is there anything that you want the people to know? Anything you want to say?
Yeah, I wanted to introduce myself again. My name is Tiffany Rose. I'm 15 years old, and I'm really glad to be a part of this. I wanted to say that to people out there fighting for protests, be careful out there. We're much more than a color. It's not just Black. Our color represents power, love, and unity. Don't give up on the end goal. We need to really be safe out there and really fight for what matters. And for our brothers and sisters who lost their lives for sleeping, jogging, and breathing, it'll work out in the end. We are one. We've gone through so much. They've buried us in dirt, but what they didn't realize is that we were seeds.
I cannot tell y'all how proud I am of the youth, how inspired I am by the youth. The youth just continues to amaze me. And like I said earlier, it is our job as adults to make sure that they are safe, that they have access, that they have resources to continue being amazing. I'm in awe. I'm in awe. So what we're about to do right now is we're about to transition into the next part of this Black Voices showcase. Before I do that, though, let me just kind of remind everybody what we're here for. What we're here today for is we're donating, right? This is a fundraiser. We're giving to the Ella Baker Center. We're giving to Black Earth Farms. We're giving to Campaign Zeros. And just to kind of sum all these groups, the work that all these groups do really quickly, they make data for people to know exactly how messed up it is in the streets. They feed the community, right? And they give back to people who are incarcerated and have just been dealt, for lack of a better word, a shitty hand by the system that we all live in. So we're going to keep this going because the adult poets, I know, are going to be just as fire as the youth poets. So on deck, we have Bree Blue, but coming up to perform right now, we have Reggie Edmonds. And let me tell you a little bit about them. Reggie Edmonds is a poet, educator, and cultural organizer based out of Richmond. Richmond, gotta do it. Based out of Richmond. They are a founder of Rich Oak Events. an events production program that produces the Oakland Poetry Slam, the Berkeley Poetry Slam, and the Alchemy Open Mic. They are also the 2019 Berkeley Grand Slam champion, a 2019 Fog Lifting Emerging Writers Fellow, a 2019 and 2020 Anye Ozi Fellow, and the 2020 Shuffle Literary Collective Resident. Accolades, accolades, accolades. Their work can be found in Rigorous Magazine, Fog Lifter Journal, and others. So without further ado, let me mute myself. Let me make some space. Y'all, I know y'all gonna enjoy this. Reggie, kill him.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. This poem is called Where is the God in This? Behind the gun, holding the knife, fingers hooked into my throat, is God the air or its absence from the lungs? Is God the blood or its transit from the body once? I thought I heard the Lord in the rumbling of my empty belly. Anything can be a prayer as long as it goes unanswered. My name, perhaps, could be a tiny plea for a country that isn't heavy with my blood. God must be a river red with iron. Perhaps all of their lead is a metal offering to a metal God. My body must be an altar of some sort. Every sacrifice bleeding salvation. Perhaps my blood is a prayer too. Perhaps this country is scraping at my skin to get to the God inside. Perhaps everything is meaningless. Martyrdom is a white man's fantasy. And when the blood leaves, it doesn't find any God to pray to. Okay, and I have one more. I think like as Black people and Black artists, we talk a lot about Black pain and about Black resistance, but we don't talk about how much of our resistance necessitates us taking care of ourselves. Like, I can't go out and march for 12 hours and then sleep for 4 and then march for 12 hours and sleep for 4 and live. That's going to kill me. We have to rest. We have to take breaks. We have to take care of ourselves because this system is designed to wear us out so we can't resist. So this is a poem called Black Rest Matters. Today, I could not raise myself into a riot. I could not wake my voice to demand humanity for my skin. Instead, I found the evidence of mourning knotted into the muscles in my back. Trauma manifests in the body the same way it manifests in the soul. My soul is weary, and I have not slept in days. I feel trapped, so it hurts to move. My heart is a heavy brick, so now every muscle has turned to stone. To be Black and aware is to be in a constant state of exhaustion. We are tired, have been tired, will always be tired as long as the color of our skin is the justification for our deaths. I cannot stop crying. I cannot stop grieving. It never ends. Every day there is a new body to bury and immortalize into disobedience that sits civilly on the tip of my tongue until I am forced to swallow another eulogy. I can't fight the system all day and sleep through the cacophony of ghosts that haunts my bones until they creak in the middle of the night. I feel footsteps walking up my femur. There is a phantom in my skull whispering, I can't breathe, and the air flees my lungs to escape the white God that wants to claim it. I need the day off. The revolution will be there tomorrow, but I could die of exhaustion tonight, so I will trade in a raised fist for a down pillow. I count sheep instead of pigs. I exercise spirits from my joints with lavender and salt water to prepare for the cycle to repeat. I grieve and rest and grieve and rest and grieve and rest and grieve again. In a world that wants me weary, a nap can be the biggest riot. In a world where Black is synonymous with dying, everything we do to stay alive is a protest. Sometimes there is a movement in stillness. Sometimes it is the quietest actions that produce the loudest screams. Thank you.
Fire, 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 as always. I think that one of the things that Reggie touched upon that I really believe is that we need to rest. So much of this violence, so much, the world is just moving. The world is very tumultuous right now. All these protests, all these riots, all this organizing, all this work being done. It's really important that we take care of ourselves and each other. And one of the way that we take care of each other is by giving money, folks. This is a fundraiser. If you like any of the poets If you like any of the poems that have been performed, make sure you donate. They're going to be going out to 3 different amazing organizations. Right now, we are at $600, and we've been at 600 for a minute. I think that we could easily hit 1,000 by the end of this open mic, by the end of this showcase. Again, the Venmo is SPARC Poetry, and that's SPARC with a C, SPARC Poetry. And small donations add up. Give $5 here, $10 here, $20 here. Challenge your friends to match your donation. I want you all to think about how much you spend when you go out to eat. 18 bucks, 20 bucks. Give us that same amount of money so that way we can give it right back to the community and people who are doing the work. Again, you can donate at bayareacreative.org or through Venmo at SPARC Poetry, SPARC Poetry. But we're going to keep it moving. On deck, we have Prophet Right. Right now, we got Bree Blue. She texted me and she said, don't even read my whole bio. So I'm going to make up a bio for her because I know her well enough like that. Bree Blue is an amazing organizer and poet from Berkeley, California. She was set up the Speakeasy open mic. Sorry about that. Brianni Bree Blue is a published author and spoken word artist and motivational speaker from Berkeley, California. She had set up an amazing spoken word event that happened every Tuesday called Speak Easy, and her poems always rely passion, emotion, and she's just amazing. There's nothing more that I can tell you about Bree. Real facts, I got to teach her son when he was 6 years old, and he was one of the brightest, most intelligent kids that I have ever worked with. I probably butchered that bio because you told me not to read it, and then you sent me the same one. But you know, it's all love. I'm gonna give it to Bree.
It's all good. Thank you very much. Y'all know I don't intro nothing. I just go into it like George Floyd, Rayshard Brooks, Stephen Clark, Ahmaud Arbery. Insert the name of a Black boy gone too soon right here. His name is replaced by another before we can remind ourselves he was once here. My fear is that my son's name, Berkeley Blue, will join the names on a never-ending RIP list of those gone but not forgotten. Well, at least not until another Black woman's son loses his life. You know, simply because he was born in skin doubled as target practice for any law official choosing to assert his privilege. My bad, y'all. I mean power. Wait, no, I mean control. Hold on, I mean authority. I mean, my son may never get a chance to utter, don't shoot, or I'm unarmed, or I don't fit the description before his voice is silenced, may never get a chance to tell his side of the story, offer his explanation, speak his truth. Instead, he may only be remembered as the still, uncovered, bullet-ridden body laid out face up or down on display for whomever came to gawk at the modern-day executions mimicking not so long ago lynchings. Just another RIP airbrush t-shirt. Just another chain-link fence turned hood shrine. Just another newspaper headline. Just another cop justifying his conscious decision. My heart spills tears at the thought of being that mother, standing at that podium, staring into that camera, begging that somebody do something about our Black boys being slaughtered. Yet all the while knowing that my pleas, all our pleas in the world won't bring these Black boys back. See, I never thought the day would return when Black parents have to prepare our sons to fight unarmed in a war they have already lost. Keep your hoods and hats off. Avert your eyes, but don't look too sneaky. Display a disarming smile to prove you're not threatening. Don't challenge authority. Don't walk around with your headphones on or texting or even reading, because these are distractions and will render you unprepared and unaware. Don't act too educated or too informed or too knowledgeable, or they'll think that you think that you're smarter than them, and well, that just won't fare well for you. Don't make any sudden movements if detained, since they could be mistaken for aggressive and violent attempts. Matter of fact, don't do anything at any time that could in any way put you in any type of situation that you could be blamed for, regardless of any actual facts or occurrences. See, this is parenting 101 for those raising a little brown man-child in a world that fears his very existence. I am scared. I am angry. I am uncertain. I am a Black mother who has a Black son whom I know has the potential to change some piece of this world. As long as those badges, brass and blues don't take my piece of this world away from me. We must save our boys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Bree. Is there anything that you want to say before we move on to the next poet?
Nothing I want to say that hasn't been said already. I do want to commend you guys for putting this event together. You, Jamie, in particular, have come so far in such a short period of time that it not just makes me proud, but it makes me remember just how strong Black men are, young, old, and in between. And I just say that actually my mother and my sister and I have started a campaign called Why He Matters. And it is specifically to acknowledge and inform the world about our Black boys, about our Black men, who they are, why they matter, where they come from, and what you need to know about them that you may not see in these newspaper headlines and everything. So I would just like to say we're on board with that, just like you guys are on board with everything you're doing. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak my piece.
Of course, Bree. Thank you so much.
No problem.
This is a conversation that I've been having a lot lately, is that we as a community, we as a country, we as a race, we really need to like just pay more attention to Black women. We need to pay Black women. We need to love Black women. We need to support Black women. Just yesterday, I was teaching some 4th through 6th graders. I was doing a live reading for them, doing poetry, rapping for them, entertaining them. And then I was telling them the exact same thing I'm telling you all now. And I started talking about Breonna Taylor. And then somebody asked me, who is Breonna Taylor? And I can't tell you how sad that was for me, because a lot of people know George Floyd. And not to say that any death is bigger or worse than the other death, but we just really got to give it up to the Black women who raise us, the Black women who hold us down. I could go on forever about that. So thank you, Bree. Thank you, everybody else. We got to do better, folks. Right now we are at $800. We need $1,000, $1,800 more to reach our goal. Our goal is limitless, like the sky, like the future, like my stomach when it's Thanksgiving, right? We need all the money so that way we can give it right back to these amazing organizations who are putting in the work. If you want to donate, hit up the website, bayareacreative.org. Hit up the Venmo, SPARC Poetry, and that's SPARC with a C. I guarantee you those $5 you send add up. If you send 5, take a screenshot, send it to all your best friends and all your group chats. Say, hey, send in $5. This organization is sending money to other amazing organizations. And by the end of the day, we can hit 1,000. We can hit 15,000. We can hit 20,000. The sky is limitless. But like I said, we got 3 more folks performing tonight. On deck, we have my man, Mike Taylor. But right now, coming up, we got Prophet Wright. Now, Prophet is an MC, one of the best rappers. Prophet is an MC, spoken word poet, and arts educator from Richmond, California. I'm not even going to do it because you already did it in your heads. He was a member of the 2016 Oakland Poetry Slam and is one of the organizers of the Rich Oak Alchemy Open Mic, the Oakland Poetry Slam, and the Berkeley Poetry Slam. Prophet was a founding youth advisory council member of the Rise Center in Richmond. Through the nonprofit organization Bay Area Creative, he continues to teach spoken word poetry using culturally relevant curriculum at several K-12 schools throughout the Bay Area. Prophet loves to help youth find their voices and express themselves. He also enjoys community activism, being around nature, and healing the hood one poem at a time. One thing I just got to say before he performs is that this is my brother, and he is one of the nicest people out there. When you're struggling, he will give you one of his mini sandwiches that he packing, because I have been through that. We teach it. I'm hella hungry. I'm spacey. My man got sandwiches on deck. Yeah. So on deck, we got Mike Taylor, but right now, give it up for Prophet Wright.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you well.
All right, cool. All right. I'm going to do some music. Everybody has done poetry. I figured I'd switch it up a little bit and do a song about being raised in Richmond and what it was like growing up. This song actually is one that me and Jamie were going to finish and record the day before the Rona happened. So like, hopefully this Rona could be over so me and Jamie can finally record this freaking song. All right, let me pull up the beat. Can y'all hear the beat okay? Can y'all hear the beat?
Is there any way you can make it a little bit louder?
Okay. The gentrification of, oh, dang. I'm gonna have to start it over. I got distracted. All right. Is this better?
A little bit. If you could cut up just a little bit more, that would be perfect.
Okay. The gentrification of Richmond's impatiently waiting to get us debating our place in it, facing eviction from basis, racist intentions, replacing the tenants through rates so ridiculous. Pay these outrageously plaintive expenses of vacants the fate of the place where you stay. Screwing the waiters of representation that give us a way to live in the bay. Prayers for those who believe it, but not on these streets where the heathens are bleeding. Deceased from a beat that precedes them, policing that beats them. Weakness is weeded and all hope is fleeting. My city is tied with a purpose, highly deserted from nightly disturbance, nobody to service. Lives of the workers because violence is surging. Fire surviving the gutter with urgency, hustling for currency, energies daily. Crazy. The same with that love me and maybe can hate me and one day might murder me. First degree certainly, I've suffered through the toughest trouble, my majestic youth. I've seen things with scuffed up shoes, puffing fumes of drugs and booze, but hard times show me out a funny way of humbling you. When the crime rate wave, one time go parade daily through all the blocks she was raised in. Gotta find your way, cause they lying in wait, decaying on this grindstone pavement. Never let them take your mind, keep your heart light through all the fire and dark nights. Though the ghetto's a hell of a hard life, and nobody acknowledges all flight. On corners with niggas that turned into savages. Souls deformed by significant poverty's damages. Look at their images. Cities are ravaged through fans are sick and sadistic. They bust when they capture you. The road to survival's a hassle that tackles you. We find hope in religious figures to shackle you. Revolution is imminent, struggle in bundles. Fighting death and imprisonment, walk through the jungle. Revolution is imminent, struggle in bundles. Fighting death and imprisonment, walk through the jungle. I come from a slum that was almost defeated. The wicked I've witnessed, you'd hardly believe it. A cycle with death is more constant than rain. By the way, chops will spray the Lord coming today. Why did the bank take my house away? Work 3 jobs to save it, rent high in the base. See my fam full of pimps, pushes and preachers, houses I'm grinding, panthers and teachers, working so hard. The cockhands are bleeding, had hella friends, but so few call me when needed. Homeless, I struggled alone in the jungle, roaming and stolen, most others we crumble. Rose to be humble, my throne is the rubble. My home is with those who chose to be troubled, holding me up. I owe them eternally much. I know I can trust. So I was raised on blocks hot with game. Things I've caught the name. Body shot and let's drop them flames. Little nocturnal train, blood stained tears, cops and chains. Somebody is discarding charring remains. Felonious smokes. Holding up on my community's molding to dust. Hopeless is most of the stuck in most potent the ruts. Tell me why my whole block is writhing in pain. It's not gonna change. My cousin was shot in the brain. 3 years later, my brother psychotically slain. A block from my cousin insane. It's the logic of fate. Justice does not come and play, and it never did not to this day. So my mama ain't safe. I'm psychologically scathed. How do I plot and escape from these corners with menaces turned into savages? Souls deformed by significant poverty damages. Look at the images. My city was ravaged through beds are sick and sadistic. They bust when they capture you. The road to survival's a hassle that tackles you. We find hope in political figures that shackle you. Revolution is imminent, struggle in bundles. Facing death and imprisonment, walk through the jungle. Revolution is imminent, struggle in bundles. Facing death and imprisonment, walk through the jungle. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prophet, for blessing us with that heat. I told y'all watching that Prophet is one of the best rappers. When y'all thought I was lying, I ain't lying. I ain't gotta lie. I seen this man do it. He was one of the first people to teach me how to poet, and I'm so happy that I get to rap beside him. And after the Rona's over, we dropping tracks, we teaching kids, and we eating sandwiches in that order. Prophet, is there anything you want to say?
I just want to echo what was said earlier, and that we need to believe women. We need to support Black women. We need to pay Black women, and we need to do better as an entire people. Um, this asking and begging for justice stuff has not really been cutting it. So these uprisings are proof in the pudding that you got to take what's yours. And like, we have to attack these issues from every angle, in the ballot box, on the streets, in the classrooms, in the courtrooms. These are issues that have been around for centuries, and they're not going away in an instant. So like, it's through us collectively saying we are going to demand that America is everything that it has said it is. We are going to demand that America becomes everything that it has been saying it is, and hold ourselves and our leaders accountable. I've spoken enough, though. I'm gonna go ahead and let the rest of these musicians and poets speak. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to spit a couple of old man bars, and I'm just happy to be sharing space with these young people and trying to affect change. Love you, love y'all, and thank you again.
Whew. Like I said, one of the best rappers, and y'all know I gotta do it. Richmond. So many poets today are from Richmond, the youth, the adults. I'm just loving it. We got 2 more poets left. However, we are currently at $875 in donations. I strongly believe that in the next 2 poets, we can make it to 1,000. We can make it to 1,000. We're actually at 874. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even at 875. We at 874. We right there. I actually believe that we can make it, right? What? The number just jumped up to 949. Within the time it took me to say that we can make that, we already almost made that. So in the next 2 poets, send in $50, send in $20, send in $10, $5, whatever you can give. I promise you that the little amounts that you're able to give, it adds up. And the bigger amounts that you're able to give, it adds up. Please, please, please give. So let me introduce this next person performing. Right now coming up, we got Mike Taylor. Mike Taylor teaches spoken word to kids of all ages. He has performed on stages from San Francisco to London, and he's led national poetry teams in competition. He founded the SPARC Poetry organization and continues to create workshops that connect to the youth from all walks of life. Also, he organized this show and he put it together. So I'm really proud that he asked me to show up. I'm really excited for you all to hear his work. Y'all know what I'm gonna say. Let me shut up and pass the mic to Mike.
What's good? What's good? I'm real glad to be here. I'm real glad to see everyone virtually connecting. One of the organizations that we're donating today to pushes for policy change. And I love the idea of protest and bringing attention to causes and inconveniencing people who this would not normally inconvenience. But with that world global media attention, I don't think it can stop there. I think we have to we have to definitely put money towards changing the system. So Campaign Zero is my favorite one on the list. They're all necessary, but I love the idea of changing something on a policy level where we can hold a police force accountable for not following the rules. So right now, with better rules in place, at least we can change some sort of accountability. I'm gonna share a poem. And I don't know if anybody, writers out there, have found an old poem before. And when you find the poem, you're like, I wrote this? Oh, I did write this. Oh, wow, it's like all of a sudden my life all over again. So I'm gonna go into it. I keep an extra bottle of champagne in the downstairs fridge in case someone needs an emergency mimosa. In preparation for earthquakes, I have a flashlight hanging from my nightstand. Just for the impending zombie apocalypse, I have 3 display katanas on a shelf and an empty duffel bag and a meetup plan with a friend who has a gate around his house. I like to prepare for the worst. So when the ground starts to shake from the march of alt-right tremors shifting through Berkeley like tectonic plates, we will wake up ready. When Nazis and Confederates are resurrected as undead mobs like we haven't seen in decades, they'll realize that we have already prepared for this apocalypse. Mama been saying when the war breaks out since before I could carry microaggressions in the clip of my jaw. It's easy to get ready for battle. Every time I walk outside the door, I look down the barrel of someone's scared eyes, the color of the oceans they dragged us across. When I was 15, I was stopped by an officer who thought I fit the profile for a shoplifting suspect. I was not scared. Dad told me this would happen. Funny how when white parents and Black parents sit their children down to have the talk, they both end in stay safe. I'm rewriting Bible verses as I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, or Silicon Valley, or Valley Fair Mall. I will fear no white privilege. I was 18, 2 cops drew their weapons while approaching my car. I immediately froze. And part of me is still carbonite on the corner of 19th and Holloway with my hands out of the window. And they said it was my fault for going into the glove compartment before they asked for my registration. In case of emergency, I do not keep a flashlight in my car. I don't want it to be mistaken for a news report. As a city, we just prepare for the worst. We stake out KKK meetings and bring the resistance. We send out warning signals in the mission when ICE shows up. We pull down statues, we burn flags, we keep making survival plans, and we keep on surviving. Thank you.
You want to say, Mike?
I want to say that like everything that we're doing right now can't be a fad. When people talk about like diet and exercise, they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm on this new diet that da 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 da. And rather than trying a diet when it comes to like changing your health, it's like about lifestyle changes. So I don't want Black Lives Matter or white people being on board with Black lives to support being like the new fad diet. I want it to be a lifestyle change of, hey, here's how we can change our behavior. Here's how we can change where we're spending. And here's how we can change our silence to not be like that in terms of a lifestyle change.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that. We are almost done with Black Change, this multi-generational Black showcase full of amazing artists, youth and adults who have shown up and shown out. Before we get to the last performer, I want to remind everybody that we are at $979. We can make it to 1,000. Send in $20 to the Venmo at SPARC Poetry, and that's SPARC with a C. If you send it to SPARC with a K, I'm going to be really upset, right? That's SPARC Poetry with a C, SPARC Poetry. Hit up our website at bayareacreative.org. Challenge your friends. Send a picture of you sending in some money and send somebody, hey, match me, right? Send in half of what I did. Somebody said, what did they say? They don't have a card. Can they do PayPal? Can they do
yes.
PayPal?
Yes.
You can do PayPal.
SPARC Poetry at Gmail.
SPARC Poetry with the C at Gmail. SPARC Poetry at Gmail. So I'm going to introduce the last performer tonight, Jamie Williams. This guy is from Richmond. I got to do it. It's the last time I'm going to do it. You got to bear with me. I'm sorry. It's from Richmond. I am a poet. I'm reading my own bio. That's weird. I am a poet, actor.
Oh, let me do it.
Okay, do
All
the
right.
thing.
This next poet we have coming to the stage right now is a rapper, an actor, a dancer. I've seen him get down in classes all the time. Don't tell me he's not a dancer. He is, I don't think, a comedian, but he's really funny too. This dude has a magnetic personality, and he cares about the people in his classes all the time. So I am very happy to bring a really great friend of mine. Please welcome to the stage. Let me shut up now, but Jamie.
What's up, folks? This is so new to me. I'm gonna practice what I preach, so I'm just gonna hop into this. I started my day listening to Black Girl Magic. No Name and Jamila Woods, fantastic. Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill too. A little Jill Scott on the side to get me through, cause I'm in need of positivity and the truth today. I hear their words, it's sweeter than Kool-Aid. I listen what they say, put it on replay. I listen what they say, keep it on replay. I started my day with some Black Girl Magic. No Name, Jamila Woods, fantastic. Erykah Badu and Lauryn Hill too. A little Jill Scott on the side to get me through, because I'm in need of positivity and the truth today. I hear the words are sweeter than Kool-Aid. I listen what they say. Keep it on replay. I listen what they say. Hey, hello world, how you doing? Glad to have your attention. Did you know that Black women always been magicians? If you didn't, then I really gotta say that you tripping. Who else has been known to always handle their business? Handle the children, handle the world, do it all. When I need my spirits up, I know who to call. Hand in hand, we make a stand. Together we fall. I'ma be here by your side today and tomorrow. So when times get rough and you down on your luck, I'ma lift you up, dust you off, and show you some love. I'm just trying to repay everything that you give. I know mothers who are mothers, but they ain't got kids. I got women I call auntie, but they ain't my kin. I give everything I got to protect my friends. We're gonna build this fortress brick by brick. Together we work better, cause you know how it is. You my voice in my throat. Give me heat when I'm cold. Turn the house to a home. What's a man with no soul? To all the women that I love, here's a thank you note. All the women that I love, a thank you note. A Shaniqua will teach you. Best in Toya done told you. Pamela knows it all. Yeah, my mom is a soldier. Taught me how to survive, keep my head above water, and how to check on myself when I feel out of order. Because I started my day watching my mama. She swiftly moved about the kitchen with a certain level of practice precision. And do you smell that? The heat waves creeping out of the oven are always accompanied by an aroma, and it smells like the sweetest treats that can only be conceived in the South. The ones that are only allowed to melt the pink taste buds inside your mouth on Sunday. It smells like women made miracles with tablespoons of Black girl magic. It smells more like overt optimism in the face of poverty. And as always, I remain seated with my wide, inquisitive eyes glued to her every move. Mama's chocolate hands always lifting the pots and the pans. Mama's chocolate hands always chopping down the onions. Mama's chocolate hands always seasoning the chicken. Mama's chocolate hands always opening massive cans on whoop ass on any idiot foolish enough to mess with one of her babies. And some days I want to drop my responsibility and run home, just so I can give her a hug. See her moving about the kitchen as she still moves with that certain level of practice precision. But tonight I will say, Mama, you can lay down if you want, and I'll cook dinner tonight. I'll use unconditional love as the secret spice. The same taste that I've been feasting on for 23 years straight will always be attached to my memories because of you. And Mama, it's time that I bake you something beautiful. That is our show today. Thank you, everybody who showed up. Thank you, all the youth. Thank you, all the adults. I want to give a shout out to all the organizations who came together and made this possible. So shout out to SPARC Poetry. Shout out to Rich Oak Events. Shout out to the Berkeley Slam. Shout out to Bay Area Creative. We have reached our goal. We have made $1,025. But the fight does not stop here. Also, shout out to Bay Poets Unite. They're another amazing organization who's a part of all this. But the fight does not stop here, right? We have reached 10,000. We reached $1,025. You can still donate. You can still read books. You can still write. You can still protest. You can still give money to Black people, especially Black women. Wow, who would have thought that was possible, right? But this isn't the end of a conversation. This is the start of a conversation. So make sure that you're doing everything you can to protect yourself and those around you. My name is Jamie Williams. I have been incredibly honored to be your host tonight. You can still donate. That's SPARC Poetry, SPARC Poetry. Or you can donate through the PayPal at sparkpoetry@gmail, or the website bayareacreative.org. Y'all know what to do. Make sure y'all give us the money so we can give it right back to the community. Peace, 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 peace.